I think I'm good now. So what happened, guys? I got my router fixed. I got a new one. Um, I also fixed some settings on OBS too, which might have also been an issue. But I got a new router, so the router's all good. So I just want to react to the interview of the CEO of YouTube. Um, Apparently, from what I found out, is that they're talking about some stuff that is going wrong with YouTube and etc. and all this kind of stuff. Um, it should be fun to watch. See what happens.
I'm not going to do a long wind-up here because I have a lot of questions for my next guest. I'm delighted she's here. Please welcome Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube. Give you a good hip-hop theme for your way in.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
I'm really glad we get to have
Thank
this
you for having me.
conversation. I'm glad we get to do it in public, on stage, on the record. That's great. Let's start here. There was a bunch of news last week. Some of it involved you, some of it involved Vox.com, org. There was a policy change. I think they all sort of happened at the same time. Can we just walk through what happened and if they're parallel tracks or they happened at the same time, if they were connected?
Sure. So first of all, thank you. It's a lot of things happened last week, and it's great to be here and talk about what happened. But I do want to start because I know that the decision that we made was very hurtful to the LGBTQ community, and that was not our intention at all. And
Should we just set context for anyone who's not following this, what decision this was?
so I'll go into that, but I thought it was really important to be upfront about that and to say that was not our intention, and we were really sorry about that. And but I do want to explain why we made the decision that we did, as well as give information about the other launch that we had going on. So really, there were two different things that happened at the same time, and it was. The first one I'll talk with is we made a really significant change involving hate speech. This is something we had been working on for months.
What?
We launched it on Wednesday of last week.
This is a series of policy changes you've been rolling out.
So to just be clear, so we've been making lots of different policy changes on YouTube. We have made about 30 changes in the last 12 months.
What?
And we made this past week, we made a change in how we handle hate speech. And that took months and months of work and hundreds of people we had working on that. And that was a very launch and a really important one. And what we did with that launch is we made a couple big changes. One of them was to make it so that if there's a video that alleges that some race or religion or gender or protected group, is superior in some way and uses that to justify discrimination or exclusion, that would now no longer be allowed on our platform. Similarly, if you had a religion or race and they alleged that inferiority, that another group was inferior, and they used that to justify discrimination in one way. Those were changes that we made. So examples would be like race X is superior to X is superior to Y, and therefore Y should be segregated.
Is it weird to you that you had to make a rule that said this shouldn't be allowed? That this wasn't covered either by an existing rule, that you had to tell your community, look, this is not acceptable?
Well, so actually, it's a lot of this. If we're a global company, of course, and so if you look at European law, they have a really strong hate speech law, and so a lot of this content had never been allowed in those countries, but had actually been allowed in the U.S. and many other countries. And so what we had actually done with it a few years ago is we had actually had limited features, meaning that it wasn't in the recommendations, it wasn't monetized, it had an interstitial in front of it to say that this was content that we found offensive. And when we did that, we actually reduced the views to it by 80%. So we found that it was effective, but we really wanted to take this additional. And we made this step on Wednesday. We also added, which is really important, a few other definitions to protected groups. So we added caste because YouTube has become so significant in India, and then we also added victims of verified violent events. So like saying the Holocaust didn't happen or Sandy Hook didn't happen also became violations of our policies.
What?
And so this was happening on Wednesday, and we launched it on Wednesday. And there were, there were thousands of sites that were affected. And again, this is something that we had been working on.
It was coming already.
Briefing reporters on about it in Europe over the weekend because they're ahead, and the train had left the station. And then at the same, on Friday, there was a video, or we heard the allegations from Mr. Carlos Maza, who uploaded a video on Twitter with a compilation.
Works at Vox.com.
Who works at Vox.com, yes. And with a compilation of different video pieces from Steven Crowder's channel, putting them together, right, and asked us to take action. Each of these videos had harassment.
And the people who follow him are attacking me outside of YouTube as well.
Yeah, so we looked, yes. So he alleged that there was harassment associated with this, and we took a look at this. We tweeted back. We said we're looking at it, and Steven Crowder has a lot of videos, so it took some time for us to look at that and to really understand what happened, and where these different had come from, and see them in the context of the video. And so, actually, one of the things I've learned whenever people say there's this video and it's violative, like take it down or keep it up, like you have to actually see the video because context really, really matters. And
hold on.
So
Hold on. Okay, so she said when it comes to that kind of stuff, when it comes to video, because of context, right? You have to look at the video. But listen to what she just said. She just said it. They're not looking at the content. They're letting their API do whatever the fuck they want. That's what the fuck they're doing. They're not paying attention to the video that their people are uploading. Oh my god. She's not even listening to her own policy. She's doing other bullshit. I'm on fucking YouTube right now, live, reacting to this shit live. I hope their API, that's supposed to be so superior, is watching this shit because she is fucking bullshit.
A large number of these videos, and in the end we decided that it was not violative of our policies for harassment. And
were you looking at this yourself personally? Vox is a relatively big site.
Yeah, were you?
Were you involved in this directly?
I mean, I am involved whenever we make a really important decision because I want to be looking at it.
You were looking at the videos.
Well, so we have
Answer the question.
Reviewers, they will do a review. Again, there are lots of different videos produced by Steven Crowder. He's been a long time YouTuber.
But in this case, did you weigh in personally? Did you look at the stuff?
I mean, I do look at the videos and I do look at the reports and the analysis. There were again, I want to say there were many videos, and I looked at the compilation videos.
So here's another problem I have. Okay, she is literally trying to find a way to not answer the question that he is asking. Answer the fucking question, Susan. Fuck. I lost my place.
So what we had actually done with it a few years ago is we had actually had limited features. And we made, this past week, we made a change in how we handle hate speech. And
make a rule that said this shouldn't be able.
And many other countries. And so, but we really wanted to take this additional step. And again, this is something that we had been working with Vox up in looking at it and look at that and to really understand what happened, and where these different snippets. I've learned whenever people say there's this video and it's violative, like take it down or keep it up, like you have to actually see the video. But I want to be looking at it.
You were looking at the videos.
Well, so we have many different.
She's pulling that shit.
Do a review. Again, there are lots of different videos produced by Steven Crowder. He's been a long time YouTuber.
But in this case, did you weigh in personally? Did you look at the stuff?
I mean, I do look at the videos and I do look at the reports and the analysis. There were again, I want to say there were many videos, and I looked at certainly at the compilation video.
So when the team said we believe this is non-violative, this doesn't violate our rules, you agreed with that?
Well, let me explain to you why we said that. And
you agreed.
I agree that that was the right decision, and let me explain to you why I agreed that was the right decision. Okay, So, when we get, first of all, like when we look at harassment and we think about harassment, there are a number of things that we look at. First of all, we look at the context of, was this video dedicated to harassment, or was it a 1-hour political video that had, say, a racial slur in it? Those are very different kinds of videos, one that's dedicated to harassment and one that's an hour long. So we certainly looked at the context, and that's really important. We also look and see, is this a public figure? And then the third thing that we look at is, is it malicious, right? So is it malicious with the intent to harass? And for right or for wrong, right now, malicious is a high bar for us. And so challenges, like when we get an allegation like this, and we take it incredibly seriously, and I can tell you lots of people looked at it and weighed in. If we were, we need to enforce those policies consistently. Because if we were not to enforce it consistently, what would happen is there would be literally millions of other people saying, well, what about this video? What about this video? What about this video?
No!
Why aren't all of these videos coming down? And if you look at the content on the internet, and you look at rap songs, you look at late night talks, you look at a lot of humor, you can find a lot of racial slurs that are in there, or sex.
But wait a minute! No one is requesting you to take those videos down! No one is doing that! What the fuck? If anything, anybody would have just said, hey look, that Jake Paul video of the dead body, take that down. That's the only video that would have ever been asked me to take down. No one's asking you to take that racial slur. What the fuck? Oh my god! Fuck!
Comments, and if we were to take down every single one, that would be a very significant.
Stipulate that you take it serious. I want to come back to the idea that there's a ton of this stuff here.
Well, so what we did commit to, and really this is, I think, a really important is, like, we committed, like, we will take a look at this, and we will work to change the policy.
Bullshit!
So
Bullshit!
be able to, when we change the policies, we don't want to be knee-jerk. We don't want it to be like, hey, I don't like this video, take it down. We need to have consistent policies. They need to be enforced in a consistent way. We have thousands of reviewers across the globe. We need to make sure that we're providing consistency.
But you're not!
They come to you at some point. They say, we don't think this is violative. You say, we agree. You announce that, and then a day later you say, actually, we do have problems with this.
Okay, so we did announce it, and when we announced it, if you look carefully at the tweet, what we actually said at the end is we're looking at other avenues. And that's because we actually have two separate processes, one of which is like, is this content violative from just the purely community guidelines? But then we also have a monetization guidelines. And that's because we have a higher standard for monetization. We're doing we're doing business with this partner. Our advertisers also have a certain expectation of what type of content they are running on. And so, so we had the first review. We said it doesn't violate the community guidelines, but we'll take a look at our harassment guidelines and commit to.
But you don't.
Updating that.
You fucking don't.
Had been on our plan anyway. I'd actually put that in my creator letter that I had just done a few weeks ago, saying that we were going to take a hard look at it. But we had been working so hard on the hate speech.
Oh my god.
So our teams were caught up on that, but that really had been next on our list. So we have a higher standard for monetization. So then we did announce the monetization change that Steven Crowder was his monetization.
So was that in reaction to people reacting to you not reacting, or was that something that you were already planning to do?
He's asking questions. Thank you.
Looking at that, and when we look at these accounts, there are many different components that we look at, and that's actually why we put the line. There are other avenues that we're still looking at. And that might have been too subtle. If I were to do it again, I would put it all into one.
In one go.
Yeah, I would do it all in one go.
So you said we're not kicking you off, but we're not going to help you make money on YouTube.
We're suspending monetization.
Meaning we're not going to run ads against your stuff. If you still want to sell racist coffee mugs or whatever you're selling, that's your business, but we're not going to help you. We're not going to put an ad in front of your stuff.
Well, we said we're not going to put an ad in front of it, but the conditions by which we will turn it on can be broader than just that. So For example, if they're selling merchandise and linking off of YouTube, and that is you know, seen as racist or causing other problems, that's something that we will discuss with the creator.
So one more question specific to
Because
this.
again, we're like putting advertising there, so we
Right.
need to make sure that the advertisers are going to be okay with it, and we have a higher standard, and so we can sort of look at all different parts of that creator and what they're doing, and basically apply that higher standard there.
So people I work with at Box and other people are saying, well, one problem we've got with all this, in addition to what seems like a back and forth, is that we don't understand why you made the decision you made. There's not enough transparency. We can't figure out what rules he did or didn't break. And also, by the way, it seems clear that he did break these rules, but they're asking for transparency, for more understanding of what went on here in this specific case. Is that something that's reasonable for someone to expect out of you and out of YouTube? To say, here's exactly what happened, here's exactly what broke the rule for us, here's exactly how we're demonetizing it?
Which case are you talking about?
In the case of the Crowder Mazda stuff. But for anything, right?
So we try to be really transparent. We communicated numerous times, including publishing a blog explaining some of the rationale for our decision. We try to be really transparent with our community, with our guidelines, and we get that request actually a lot from our creators because they want to know like what's allowed on your platform, what's not allowed from a monetization standpoint, and so we do get the request for transparency, and we are working to continue to be more transparent and explain why something is a violation of our policies or not.
So you were talking earlier, you said we have to take this very seriously because if we make a ruling here, someone else is going to say, look at this rap video where they use this slang term.
Yes.
This to me seems like an issue you've got across YouTube, which is you're doing this at scale, 2 billion users, 500 hours of content uploaded every minute. It seems like no matter what decision you make in any particular case, someone is always going to come up and say, what about this? Or they're going to say, this is the new rule, I'm going to figure out a way to skirt around it. Or someone's going to say, by the way, you're going to see content that you've never contemplated showing up. It seems like at the scale you're working, an open platform where anyone can put anything up, that you guys are always going to be on this treadmill. And no matter how many humans you throw at it, and how much AI you train up, you can't actually solve this problem. Do you have confidence that this is something you can actually get a handle on?
We can definitely do and continue to improve how we manage the platform.
But you're doing a terrible job at it.
And I see how much improvement we've already made.
None!
For example, if you just look a few years ago, 2 years ago, there were a lot of articles, a lot of concerns about how we handle violent extremism. And if you talk to people today who are you can see that we've made tremendous progress.
No, you haven't!
And at the end of the day, we're an information company. We have the access to Google, some of the algorithms there. We have the resources to deploy. We've committed to last year we committed to having over 10,000 people who are working on controversial content. And so I see how much progress that we have already made. So, like I mentioned, we've made all of these different changes to our policy. We actually have just made changes to our recommendation algorithms as well.
Yeah, you have.
For not violative content, but borderline content. And we announced that we've seen a 50% reduction in the views coming from recommendations from that. So if you combine the combination of much better policies, tighter policies, and we consult with many third parties to try to make sure that we get them right, and we're hearing from all parties. You combine that with technology to be able to do that at scale. I think you can be in a much better place.
No!
You get better, but can you get it to the point where we're not seeing a story happening within YouTube on a sort of weekly basis? Can you get it where this thing is an exception to the rule?
I mean, I think there's always going to be, at the scale that we're at, there are always going to be people who want to write stories.
Well, there's also people who want to put terrible things on your website, right? You guys talk about the fact that you took down 8 million terrible pieces of content in the last quarter, right? And you probably
8 million!
75% of it no human ever saw. If I ran a business for people dumping that much sludge onto my property on a quarterly basis, I would really rethink what I'm doing. And it seems like, I just can't fathom why there's 8 million pieces of terrible things coming onto your site on a quarterly basis, but that would really upset me and worry me.
Well, it matters what's the denominator. Like like you gave the numerator, right? And so, we have a large denominator, meaning we have like lots of content who's uploaded and lots of users and lots of really good content. And when we look at it, what all the news and the concerns and the stories have been about this fractional 1%. So if you talk about the other 99 point, whatever that number is, like that's all really valuable content of people who are sharing valuable points of view that we haven't heard about, educational content, addressing really important issues. And so I think it's important to remember that and put that in perspective. And I say that not because we are not committed to solving the fracture. We're very committed, and I've been really clear that that responsibility is my #1 priority. And
you're not doing a good job at it.
Work for us to do. I acknowledge that, but I also know that we have tremendous tools at our fingertips that we can continue to invest in to do a better job. And so, yes, well, there may be something that slips through or some issue. We're really working hard to address this, and I think we have some good tools to do so.
No.
If YouTube wasn't open, what if I couldn't upload a video that I wanted to without asking you for permission? What would that do to YouTube? What if you had some sort of barrier to entry that required me to get some kind of permission to upload something before it went up there?
I think we would lose a lot of voices.
You do anyway!
Right answer.
You don't listen to anybody!
A lot of voices and a lot of people who share content. Sometimes we hear from creators that they started sharing content, like they started doing Saul Khan, right? He got started almost by accident, right? Who now creates very valuable educational content. But what I think is the right answer that you're alluding to, but not quite. I'm gonna improve a little bit your suggestion here, which is having more trusted tiers. In a sense, we've already started doing that with monetization, saying, look, you can't just come onto the platform and have monetization on day one. You have to have a certain number of views, you have to have a certain number of hours, you have to be in good standing. And so that's an example of where we have more of a trusted relationship with them. So we think, we do the similar thing with like live streams in terms of certain number of views that you have to have, subscribers that you need to have. So I think this idea of like, not everything is automatically given to you on day one, that it's more of a, we have trusted tiers.
But there's still, at bottom, you can put stuff on YouTube without
Everyone can start. Everyone can start. Everyone can be their own media provider. But in order to get some of the broader distribution or to have monetization, it's something that you work your way up to.
Is this insistence that the platform has to be open? I can think of a business reason for that. I can think of legal reasons for that, right? Section 230 gives you legal protections, but you have to not actually prevent someone from uploading something. And I can think of ideological reasons why you want the platform to be open. Which one is most important to you?
Sorry, I'm trying to remember them all. You said business reasons?
Legal, ideology. But you can add I get that more voices is better. But if having unlimited voices has a problem that is always going to it's a core issue. If you want to limit it and say, hey, we're only going to have like a select set of people, like, but what are the factors that you're determining that? How are you deciding who is getting to be on the platform and have speech and who's not? But you are deciding fundamentally, right? You have teams and you have software and you weigh in. You are fundamentally making a decision at some point.
We do, but that's after they've been on the platform and we have an understanding of what they're doing. It's based on the content that people have uploaded. So I think, look, we see all these benefits of openness, but we also see that needs to be married with responsibility, and you do need to have more of this responsibility in place, and you need the different ways to understand what is the content that you should be putting in recommendations, what is the content that should be promoted for different use cases, and YouTube deals with a lot of different cases. So we deal with entertainment, music, like why should we say some people can, new musicians or old musicians, like why would we want to close something like that?
But there is, right, where people make those decisions all the time. Traditional media does this. The New York Times or NBC or Fox knows what's on their website because they said, yes, let's publish this. Let's distribute this. You guys don't know. That would make me just fundamentally nervous to be running a platform with 2 billion people on it. I don't know what's happening on it.
Well, we have a lot of tools. We work hard to understand what is happening on it, and really work hard to enforce the work that we're doing. And I think if you look across the work, I see that we've made tremendous progress in a number of these areas. And again, I'm not saying we're done, but I think you can see that we've made progress. And if you were to fast forward a couple years and say, well, what would that look like next in 12 months and then another 12 months? What are all the different tools that have been built in place? I think you'll see that there'll be a lot of progress from that.
No.
Your boss Sundar described the problem you guys are dealing with in an interview this week on Axios as a search problem. Is that the correct analogy to think about the problems you guys are facing?
Well, I think I don't want to interpret necessarily what he said, but if you look at Google, Google has done. Google was first founded on delivering information, right? That's been the mission of the company, to organize the world's information. And you look at like our first patent, it was about PageRank, and PageRank is actually about figuring out who is authoritative on the web, who are the people that you should bring up for any different query. And so being part of Google for informational queries is a really, really important part of how we'll build some of these systems going forward. And again, like when you talk about music, or you talk about cooking, you're talking about DIY, these other categories, like you want to discover new people, you want to have those fresh ideas.
Why not gaming?
See a variety of content. But when you're dealing with really sensitive areas like news or medical, like you want to get those from authoritative sources. And I think there's an opportunity. That's where we work with.
But you're leaving gaming out of it. Hello? Vlogs, gaming. Where's that at?
There's a lot of discussion about regulation and what kind of regulation makes sense to use with tech companies, including yours. What regulation would be helpful to you, and what regulation would you not want to see at all?
Well, I agree. There's definitely more regulation in store for us. And one of the groups I've been working that we've been spending a lot of time has been Article 13, which is the copyright directive in Europe, now named Article 17. And I think what we have seen is that a lot of times regulation is really well intended. People want to change society for the better, but it has all these unintended consequences. And so what I would say is really important is for us to be able to work closely with these different providers, the different governments, and be able to explain how can we really implement it in a reasonable way, how to make sure there aren't unintended consequences that they didn't think about that actually might make the situation worse, that they just, because they're not running our businesses, don't necessarily have that visibility.
There's a push to break up some of these companies. What would happen if you were split off from Google?
I don't know. I've been really busy this week working with all these other concerns. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we would figure it out.
That's a good answer.
Terrible
One
answer.
more specific video question. BuzzFeed wrote about a creator with some popularity who'd made a series of problematic videos. I hate that I just use the word problematic. Of offensive videos, and one of them was a death threat aimed at you. You took down that video, another video. Her channel is still up, which brings me back to this sort of whack-a-mole where you guys are sort of sifting through videos as they come to your attention and saying, this one's a problem, this one's okay, this one threatened to kill me, but she can still stay on the site. How do you feel about having, her name is Soph, how do you feel about having her on YouTube?
So let me, like I said, like I mentioned beforehand, every single time there is a controversial video, you really need to see the video and you need to understand what's happening. And she, has a large amount of political satire and political speech that's in her channel. The video where she made the threat to me was struck, and we removed monetization from her channel because, like I said, we have a higher bar for monetization, and that was an issue. Look, I think there's certainly different levels of threats in the videos and different ways that we would interpret it depending upon the context of who is the person and what they're saying. And in many cases, we would terminate the channel if we thought it was a channel that was dedicated to a number of, hateful harassment, etc. But in this case, it was a large amount of political speech. And so seeing it in context, we struck the video, removed monetization, but left the rest of the channel up.
And there's been a lot of threats directed at you and other YouTube executives in the last few days since you announced your policy. I assume some of that, again, is ideological. Some of it is that you've got these creators who are trying to make money on your platform, and I think that's a difference between what you do and what Google and Twitter do. Generally, most people aren't making a living on Google or Twitter. People can legitimately do that. And then you had a YouTuber who was angry about being demonetized, I think, and killed someone, came onto your campus and killed someone a couple years ago. What's that like to sort of manage that teeming group of people that you don't really actually manage?
Well, first of all, it's difficult. But I will say there was something in your question that I don't totally agree with. I think it's really important to clarify. You talked about, you made this association of creators who could be upset or angry or difficult, and then you allege, right, that it ties to monetization. And again, I want to...
They'll often make that argument.
Well, I want to just be clear that, again, it's this 99 fractional 1% problem, but I also want to point out that because we have a higher bar for monetization, that you know, that we're really like, this isn't a business problem.
Yes, it is.
Problem from that perspective, right? Like, we're focused on having high quality content available for, as part of our ecosystem.
That's not true. That's not true. She's full of shit. Let's talk about the real issue, okay? It's not about the quality. It's not about what... It's not about any of that, okay? It's money. Super Mario Logan. Okay, let me go into full screen here. Super Mario Logan no longer makes money from his channel. Not even Luigi Logan. And I think Chili's channel no longer makes ads. Because... money. They figured, oh, well, if we can find the tiniest little detail from those videos, we find a little cursing, a little violent, and a little blood, a tiny little drop, we're just gonna say, nope, that video doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. It's not happening. So YouTube doesn't have to give out money to those creators because they get more. McJuggernuggets, Kid Behind the Camera, Boogie, you know, creators like them, they're not getting paid very much now because it's all about money. And even if they do make money, it's not as much as they used to be because YouTube wants more money, so they can't give any out. So it's all for them. That's how it always is for YouTube.
But we also want to have a broad range because we wanted to keep it open and enable lots of different points of view to be on the platform. And you know, it's certainly, you know, I think like any time that
it's been a while. Where have you been?
A bunch of creators.
I see you change your name. Welcome back.
Or people are upset. Like, it's difficult, and you know, it's certainly, you know, this week it was unfortunate. We managed to upset everybody.
Huh?
We're working
we managed to upset everybody.
To do the right thing, and it was really in our effort to be consistent that we wound up upsetting people. So it's not an easy job. It's a tough job, but I am encouraged by the fact that I hear so many good stories of people who have been able to pursue their passions.
Okay. You're trying to not make it to where you're upsetting people. But let's take a look at this, okay? Nobody was upset before you changed the algorithm. No one was upset before you changed the policy. Nobody was upset with anything. You did this for no reason. My theory is just because of that Jake Paul video where he saw a dead body. Oh boy, now we gotta change everything. Leave YouTube alone the way it was. Maybe creators wouldn't quit. Maybe creators wouldn't try to find something else. Creators still make videos under your terms because they need money. A lot of them quit YouTube just to go to streaming on Twitch or Mixer. I mean, it's not rocket science. Clearly, the CEO, Susan, she's apparently stupid as shit.
A career, have a business on YouTube, talk about how they learned an instrument or learn something new they never thought they could do beforehand. And so it's really all the good. It's the 99% of good, valuable content that I'm really that keeps me motivated about what I do.
I have more questions, but I want to open it up to the audience because I think they're going to have questions too. Sure. I assume there's a microphone, maybe two microphones, lights. You can introduce yourself.
I'm Steve Kovac from CNBC. I was wondering what goals and metrics Sundar and your other bosses give you that you're evaluated on, and how or if those have changed over the years?
Yeah. Well, so, I think like any company, we use multiple metrics to evaluate our success. And so we have at the, sort of the top of our pyramid, quality and responsibility right now. And so when we talk about quality, we're talking about recommendation quality, search quality, comment quality, etc. We talk about responsibility. We talk about rolling out changes to our recommendation services to make that to make sure that we're recommending the right content to our users. So those are the top line metrics that we have, and so we put that at the top of the pyramid because it's really important.
Over the years?
Excuse me, what?
Has that pyramid changed over the years?
It definitely has. It certainly evolved over time. I mean, there are lots of other metrics, to be fair, that we look at, like how many creators do we have on our platform, revenue, etc. How are users engaging with our videos, right? Number daily active users, like. So yes, there are many other metrics that we use, but we have been really focused on putting these at the top.
For a long time, you guys were pushing for watch time, right? You wanted to get to 1 billion hours. In retrospect, was that emphasis on watch time a mistake?
I mean, we definitely, we've always had lots of different metrics, to be clear, not just one. And when we actually introduced the watch time metric, it was the goal of a quality one at the time, because what we saw is that views a lot of times cause click spam or people clicking on content that they didn't really want, and we thought watch time was the best way to show are people really engaged. But we have evolved in many different ways. So we also started adding satisfaction recommendations. After people watch a video, were they satisfied with those videos? And that's an example of how our metrics have evolved.
Okay, we got a lot of folks. We'll try to go quick.
Great.
Susan, Mark Mahaney at RBC. 2 questions. You pick which one you want, the near term and the long term. Near term, in the March quarter, there's a real sharp deceleration in growth, ad revenue growth at Google. Some talk about product changes. Maybe that occurred at YouTube. Do you have anything you can share, any light you can shed on that? And then the other question is bigger, and it's what Peter was asking you earlier. You've been at Google since the beginning of the beginning. Do you think the company has become too big that it really should be much more closely regulated than ever was in the past? Google grew up against, in a way, one tech monopoly. Do you think it's become another tech monopoly?
So, I'll take the second question.
Of course!
So I did just celebrate my 20-year anniversary at Google, and it's pretty amazing to see the way Google has evolved over time. I mean, I can tell you, from my vantage on YouTube, is like this. If you look at all the people who are getting into video, and big, well-resourced companies all getting into online video, this seems like an incredibly competitive time. I'm also often asked the question, like, what about X, Y, Z, all these other providers? So I see that competitiveness. I also see some of the advantages, like I mentioned beforehand, like if we are going to focus on some really hard computer science information problems, I think that's what Sundar referred, like being part of Google really helps us because we're able to signals and technology that to be able to figure out what's the right way to do our recommendations.
You need to be this big to solve the scale of the problem that you have because you're so big.
Well, having
Stutters.
enough scale does help us build systems that are world class to be able to address this. And so I do think there are some advantages of that, and there's some technologies that we're able to learn from Google and those techniques that really benefit us. So I do see that there are some real advantages where we're able to deliver a better product because we have some of the, we run on shared infrastructure, and there's some technology that we can borrow and or just even techniques that we can learn from on how to deliver the right information.
We'll take 2 more questions real quick.
Hi, Neil Abizel from The Verge. You're the CEO of YouTube. Do you think you've set a fair goal for your policy team to create a single coherent content moderation policy that covers beauty influencers and tech YouTubers and how-to channels and political comedians? It feels like you've failed.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So when we think about, first of all, we have many policies, right? And one of the things I've learned from spending a lot of times on these different policies is that there could be certain areas that need a different set of policies. Like, I'll just say news and information is a whole category in and of itself. And this is actually why it hasn't been so simple to solve, because we need to be able to solve
Stay on the topic!
areas with a different set of experts, deep understanding, technology. For example, in news, we have misinformation cards. We have authoritative breaking news shelves, right? So we have a bunch of different product solutions. And then I think from a policy standpoint, we also are going to have different policies as they appear in different verticals.
Do your creators know that they fall under different policy regimes?
Well, people know that if they create, look, there's some standards like how we handle harassment or how we handle hate that applies to everyone. But what I'm trying to say is that if you're in the news category producing misinformation, we're gonna, there could be a set of cases that really only relate to news. And so I'm just saying that we're trying to understand how to cover everything across from a policy standpoint. But when we identify, look, there's a problem over here, it's specific to this area, specific to this industry, we're also going to look and say, well, what policy should we make that will really affect this effectively?
I'm going to change my policy. I'm going to let two more, because I want to have Ina go, and I want to let Kevin from the Times ask a question, because he wrote a really good story this weekend. So super quick, Ina.
Yep, Ina Fried with Axios. You started off with an apology to the LGBTQ community, but then you also said that you were involved and that you think YouTube made the right call. A lot of people don't really feel like that's an apology and are concerned that YouTube flags LGBT positive content just for being LGBT as sometimes, sensitive, and yet slurs are allowed. And I'm curious, are you really sorry for anything to the LGBTQ community, or are you just sorry that they were offended?
Wow.
So first of all, I'm really personally very sorry, and it was not our intent. Our goal was, YouTube has always been a home of so many LGBTQ creators, and that's why it was so emotional, and that's why I think this really, that's why, even though it was a hard decision, it was made harder than it came from us, because we've been such an important home. And even though we made this decision, which I'm going to get into a little bit more with your question, but I'm saying we've really, YouTube, we have so many people from YouTube, from the LGBTQ community, and we've always wanted to support the community openly in spite of this hard issue that we've had right now. So I'm just saying, people have gotten a lot of criticism, like, why are you still, why did you change your logo to rainbows even though you made this hard decision? And it's because as a company, we really want to support this community. It's just that from a policy standpoint, we need to be consistent, because if we took down that content, there would be so much other content that we would need to take down. And we are not, we don't want to just be knee-jerk. We need to think about it in a very thoughtful way, be able to speak with everyone. We'll speak to people from the LGBTQ community, make sure that we're incorporating that going forward in terms of how we think about harassment, and then make sure that we are implementing that in a fair and consistent way going forward. And I think that it was a hard week across the board, and I am truly, truly sorry for the hurt that we caused that community. It was not our intention at all. And I do want to, not that I want to take away in any way from the hurt or the challenge of what happened this week, but I do want to let you know that many changes that we made in the hate policy, which again is a different set of policies, we think will be really beneficial for the LGBTQ community. And there are a lot of videos there, ways that community is attacked, where we will be taking down those videos going forward. And we will be very consistent. If we see that, we will take it down. So again, thank you for your question, and I really do apologize for the hurt that we caused.
Kevin really does get the last question.
Okay. Kevin.
Hi. The story that Peter mentioned was about radicalization, and a 21-year-old man who says that YouTube helped sort of radicalize him into the far right through his recommendations. And as part of that story, I got to ask a lot of people about YouTube and radicalization, but I never got to ask you. So I wanted to ask you, do you think YouTube is having a radicalizing effect on our politics?
I mean, so, you know, we offer, as you know and you've researched, a broad range of opinions, recommendations.
Is there any more? So this one's more recent.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Today is a big day for two reasons. It is currently my 10th anniversary on YouTube. Today signifies 10 years of YouTube for me, which is... How's it going? You good?
Hello, yeah. Oh my god, I met you like 3 years ago on your first book signing.
Oh, nice.
In London.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Nice to see you.
Have a fun day in London.
Cheers, and you. 10 years on YouTube today. But something even more special is about to add to this. We currently just arrived at King's Cross St Pancras Station in London. And we are on the way to YouTube/Google headquarters. Let's go this way. To go and film a video. I've tweeted about it, I've Insta-storied about it, I've put it on private Facebook groups with like 200 creators on it, about it, but I haven't been allowed to say who. Today I'm filming with the CEO of YouTube, Susan herself. Let's sit down and chat before we go in. I reached out to my YouTube partner manager, a woman called Vivian, who is unbelievable. And I said, look, I really want to shoot a sit-down, in-depth video with Robert Kinsell or Susan, who's the CEO, Robert's Chief Business Officer, to chat about everything to do with the platform, because I see so much, not negativity, but so many things that creators and viewers would like to be tweaked or changed, or like, what is the answer to this? Why is this happening like this? That I was like, I just want to sit down with one of the two. Susan's never really done this before. Robert's done it a couple of times with people like Casey and Casper. Somehow, we've managed to catch Susan while she's in London. Oh, this is crazy. She's on a family holiday. She's literally got her 5 kids here with her at the moment, and she's taking time out of her day, which I super appreciate, to come down to the YouTube space and record this video with me. So I'm incredibly thankful. The topics I'm looking to cover, I want this video to cover every aspect of every part of the community. So many videos that YouTubers like myself have done with people that are super senior at YouTube get quite a lot of backlash for not covering the right topics. I promise you I've done as much as I can. I've asked on Twitter, I've asked on Instagram, I've asked on Facebook, I've asked in private groups, I've asked my friends, I've asked so many people from all different parts of the community, people that I don't even know personally I've reached out to, LGBTQ+ creators, gaming creators, cooking YouTube channel, like everybody. And the topics, I mean, we're going to cut to it and see in a second, but the topics I'm looking at are demonetization, harassment, trending page, mental health, and then just loads of other random topics. Specifically, one of the most popular questions that I've been asked to ask is about demonetization of LGBTQ+ content. Definitely going to cover that, but there is so much to talk about. I want to know Susan's opinion on Instagram, getting rid of the likes. I want to know Susan's thoughts on what she would change if she rebuilt YouTube again. We're going to go in as much as I'm allowed to go in. We've got 16 minutes to be literally just there. I bloody hope this goes well, guys, because I want this to be amazingly beneficial for creators to just get answers to questions that we've all wanted to know, but also YouTube voice and answer the answers to questions that they want the answers to be public. I'm going to do my best. Let's just see what happens. I'm just going to film everything I possibly can. They've also got, out of ease, like a really swanky, posh setup in there already. We haven't seen it. I just got told about it. I don't know what the set looks like. I did offer just to film me and Morgan on this camera, but I mean, Susan's time is unbelievably valuable, so we've just got to get the process as smooth as possible. The camera's already all set up, the mic's already set up, everything like that. Yeah, that's the plan for today. It's a bloody big day, 10 years. I wish I had like a party popper to pop, or like a little champagne glass to cheers. The sport's been unbelievable. 10 bloody years. Who would have thought 10 years ago I'd be on the 10-year of the actual company? What the bloody heck? What the heck? You should roll it. Yeah. Alright, you you've got to just roll that camera. We're going to try and film the whole process, everything. You know what? I've never been here. Actually.
No, you have.
I have. Well, the last time I was here, Susan was here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Is that
That's
we're
literally
at
the last time.
end?
Pick one, A camera mark, B camera mark, C camera mark.
First of all, appreciate you coming down on your family holiday.
Of course. Glad to be here.
What have you been up to?
Checking out London. I was here for the hottest day ever on record. It was really hot, and enjoying the parks and the museums, and also just here meeting with creators, which has been great too. So thank you for taking time. I know today is actually a really important day for you.
Hold up. Let me be right back. I use nothing. Alright, I'm back.
So 10 years ago today, I uploaded my first video on YouTube, which is possibly the most embarrassing video on YouTube.
I thought your hair was a hat.
Yeah, Susan got me a present earlier on when we first met, and this one here is a photo of me from the first video of mine.
I can't even
Which
say
you
it.
thought my hair
I
was a
thought
hat.
that was a hat. I said, why did you wear a hat? And you said, no, it's my hair.
Yeah, this is like Justin Bieber style, like super low down, but the camera quality is so bad it does look like a hat. And then over here, this is like most recent, up to date me. So I feel like I should put these in the back over here.
Okay. I'm glad that just magically worked out that I could be here with you on to celebrate your 10 years on YouTube.
This is what I was saying to my girlfriend earlier. I was saying, imagine if I thought back then when filming the first of it in 10 years' time.
Just ask the questions already.
Of YouTube.
We don't care.
I appreciate
What
it.
inspired you for your first video? Just while we're on the topic, I'd love to hear the story about how creators first got started.
Yeah.
And so, what inspired you for that first video?
I think it was boredom of, I was home alone, got my little family holiday camera, like put it on a stack of books, still not even too different to what I do now. And yeah, I don't even know. I kind of feel like I don't remember the whole video because I'm too embarrassed to watch it. Every time someone plays a clip, I'm like, no.
I thought we should watch it. I thought it'd be fun to watch it together.
Okay, we can watch a bit of it. We can watch it. But we're going to watch the same amount that every time it gets to it, I'm like, okay, let's turn this on. Because it's just, even my voice is, see my hat hair. So I'm reviewing another YouTuber in the first video. Do you know Charlie? Charlie's so cool, like. So I'm reviewing his video and talking about like his videos as my first video.
Okay, let's see a little more. What do you say?
I don't even know what I'm saying. I've been this close to deleting it, but then I'm also like, I can't delete it.
No,
It
you
needs to
have
stay
to
there
keep
because
it.
then you can see the difference. Then
You
it's
have
like,
to keep it
yeah.
for the history and for your 20-year anniversary.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate you coming down and doing this, and I suppose first of all, number one for working and creating such a unbelievable platform that makes creators want to be on it for 10 years long. Like, there's not many places that communities that people want to be involved in for that period of time. In previous videos that I've seen, like YouTube execs, a lot of the comments always say like, has the the exec seen the questions before, so I just wanted to make it clear that to everybody watching that you have seen like the questions before, but I want to make sure that this is very casual. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and I think we were open to any questions
Yeah,
you have.
definitely.
We want to
Oh,
I want to hear
no
from
questions have been rejected, no questions have been tweaked or anything, do you know what I mean?
you. Yeah.
Sure, but I just want to make that clear because some videos I've seen people like, oh, you obviously didn't ask this for this, and I'm like, nothing like that.
I will tell you, I didn't spend a long time preparing.
I mean, you're literally on holiday at the moment.
I have been busy.
with your
I
kids.
have been doing a lot of meetings. I've done a lot of dinners.
Yeah.
I just did a press interview. So I didn't spend a huge amount of time preparing for your questions.
Sure.
But
People will like that. People will like
but on
that.
the other hand, and part of the reason I didn't is just to be upfront about it is because in a sense my job is to always be answering questions about YouTube, right?
Sure.
And to know what's on people's minds and to be able to explain what we're doing. And so I look at the questions just to see, is there something here that I've never seen before?
Yeah.
And sometimes when I go to a new country, they're asking something that's very specific to the country that is not a global issue, but is super important in that country, and I might not have the full context. But in general, questions about YouTube and how YouTube functions in general and decisions that are global are things that I usually I've already talked about. I've spent a lot of time on it. I've been in reviews about it. I've met with the product people about it. I've met with creators about it. And I can tell you where we are in that process to create to address that issue. Or also to explain, like, why are people confused about it? Sometimes we have addressed it, but the communication hasn't been clear. So anyway,
No doubt.
please ask me what's on your mind. I want to hear your questions.
No, definitely.
And try to have a really open, honest conversation. And because I think one of the things that we've seen is that YouTube is this, at the scale that we operate, it is complex, and so there are a lot of questions, and there are a lot of people making their livelihood on YouTube, and they have a lot of questions, and we want to make sure we're communicating about what we're
But
doing,
you're not!
what we're doing.
I tweet at you guys all the time about questions and you never answer me.
That we need to be more transparent, and we are working hard to communicate more, like doing an interview like this, answering questions on social. We're putting updates now in Creator Studio, where people
Which
who are
sucks, by the way.
their stats. So we're trying to be transparent and communicate more.
I definitely think it's
You're doing a
working,
bad
for
job.
sure, because one thing that shocked me is prior to this interview, I told everybody on Twitter, I told everybody on Instagram, I told everybody in a private Facebook group that I have with like 185 creators from the UK. I didn't specifically say film review, I just said an example YouTube. There was so many less questions than what I thought. And at first I was like, this is really strange. I don't know why people aren't like coming forward with the questions. And then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe YouTube's already answering them themselves. And like proactively putting them in places where creators can see it is actively working, and it must be, because I put it out to a Facebook group with 185 creators and I got 2 questions. And one was so niche and specific to the creator that I was like, I don't think Susan's the right person for this. Like, this isn't the right question for Susan. So I definitely think that is 100% working for sure, because there was far less noise from me actively putting out saying that I'll be sitting down with somebody. I thought I was going to be bombarded with like, tweak this, fix this, change this, and it was literally the opposite.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
We know that we still need to make sure that we're working on communication, and I don't think we're done at all.
You're doing a terrible job, though.
Communicate more, and what we are seeing, for example, so we do meetings with creators, and I'm seeing a lot more
We've had, the last time we met was here in London.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
meet here. It was great to meet with some creators here in London, but YouTube as a whole, we're trying to do a lot more outreach and programs and meeting with creators, and actually I'm seeing a lot more like technical support when we meet with creators. They're not philosophical questions.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times like, I have an account and I had this issue specifically to my account, and again, we're trying to make sure we address those too, but
Not doing a good job, Susan.
and we'll continue. I mean, YouTube is a dynamic platform. Issues change, and we expect that there will be new topics that come up, and we'll always be trying to communicate. But I just want you.
If you're gonna try to communicate, how about you
all
actually
know
do it?
that we have heard that we need to be doing more to be transparent, and we're working hard to do that.
I definitely
we
think
still
you
have
are.
work to
I
do.
think you are. I think you
Okay,
are. I think it's
thank
good.
you.
first thing I thought would be good to start with was the 4 core pillars of YouTube: freedom of opportunity, freedom of speech, freedom of information, freedom to belong. Can you explain those to people? Because I don't think many people will know about that. And I've only learned that from being
What's up, Eric?
YouTube Creator Summits.
Homie.
Great.
Haven't seen this interview yet. Is it recent? Yeah, it's a month ago.
About what was YouTube's mission, and because I think it's really important to be a mission-driven company. At YouTube, our goal is to give everyone a voice and to show them the world, and that's a mission that we spend time thinking.
Then why are you not giving them the voice? You're ignoring them if they do.
We wound up having these 4 freedoms that came out of all of our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
The freedoms were freedom of information, right? The fact that anybody can watch a video and get information about pretty much anything. And YouTube is this incredible library now of
How to fix your dishwasher.
Anything, right? Fixing your dishwasher, learning math, like learning an instrument.
That's educational, though.
So then the next one was freedom of expression, that we want to enable everyone to have a voice and to be able to communicate with.
Hold on, though. Hold on, Susan. Hold on. Shut your mouth. Listen here. You're not. You're not. Freedom of expression. But yet everyone gets demonetized or age restricted, right? Right? That's the freedom of expression. Someone, punches someone hits a wall or punches a door in a video. That's freedom of expression. But yet they'll probably get taken down or age restricted or demonetized. Or not get recommended. I swear. She's so fucking...
To be able to cover so many topics that were never covered before. Whether people are talking about their challenges, or having a disability, or having a disease, or having a passion that is shared by a small set of people. So, freedom of expression. Then we've also talked about the freedom to belong, and which is that anyone can find someone like them on the platform.
Oh, duh.
And no matter what your background is, where you came from, what challenges you have, you can find someone who's like you on YouTube and connect. And that is really powerful for us.
But if you're not recommending channels to people, how are they gonna connect?
And then also the last one is freedom of opportunity.
No, speech. Hello.
Start a business. And it used to be that you started your website, right, 10 years ago. So this story that people a lot of times will share, which is that I wanted to have a media company, or I wanted to be in media and entertainment, and I tried and I went about a number of traditional routes and it didn't work out, and I tried YouTube and I was able to have an audience. And I look at creators and I talk about creators as next generation media companies. Now sometimes these freedoms come in conflict, and I think you wanted to ask me about that.
Yeah. Well, one question that I have, the number one most popular question that I got to ask that touches a little bit on that is the amount of LGBTQ plus content that is instantly demonetized on YouTube. Any content that's based on sexuality or sex, and how that doesn't contradict with the freedom of expression.
So we do not automatically demonetize LGBTQ content.
Because I've had rumors.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Tag for your thumbnail or your title.
Not anymore.
So we work incredibly hard to make sure that our systems are fair. We have
Right.
ML
Yeah.
fairness
Okay.
initiative. ML stands for machine learning, to make sure that our algorithms and the way that our machines work are fair. There is no policy, of course, because we want to have all different voices representing all different points of view.
But you're not. You're not allowing it.
And just backing up for a minute, I mean, the LGBTQ community has been an incredibly important part of YouTube. We have so many creators who have come from that community, and we also have seen that so many youth who otherwise might have felt more isolated to be able to have a better understanding and connection to the LGBTQ communities. So very early in YouTube, that was a very significant campaign that that was addressing LGBTQ youth and suicide, and it was a large number of people on YouTube who came out and said, life gets better, and created videos. And right now we actually see that we have a lot of coming out videos coming out on YouTube. And we've been really proud of that. And so we want to support the LGBTQ community. And so there's no policies that say if you put certain words in the title that will be demonetized. We work incredibly hard to make sure that when our machines learn something, because a lot of our decisions are made algorithmically, that our machines are fair. And we
But they're not.
have a whole committee and a whole process to make sure that we are managing fairness of how our algorithms work.
Okay, let's talk about this, okay? Let me go to YouTube real quick. YouTuber I watched with Jugger Nuggets, right? A video that was part of a story, okay? It's part of a story. It's from the devil inside, I believe. Let me find it. If I can find it. We're not gonna play it right now. Okay, so there's a video that was deleted. What was it? Oh, there's another one. There's one in between Psycho Dad Rage Stream Prank and My Family. There's a video. The 15th video got deleted. Oh, what other one got deleted? Psycho Family Golfing and You Don't Know Me. There's a video that got deleted there. 53. That video I know for a fact is where Jesse's character Isaac was in the bathtub. That's supposed to be part of the story that was supposed to be like a touching part of that story. That got deleted for no reason really. But there's guns. There's guns in the rest of these videos. A lot of language and all that shit. But yeah, YouTube is allowing those videos to stay up, but deleted the other two that probably weren't as bad as those. But yet they got to stay. So something with the API and those machines are doing something wrong. They deleted two videos that did not need deleted. And they're demonetizing the video for telling a story. Does anybody get that? Can anybody explain that to me, how that works out? But we get like the beginning here of what was it called? The Devil Inside. That episode. This scene right here. Sure, YouTube's gonna be like, sure, we're gonna keep this scene right here.
Like he has to be alive. That's our only chance.
The devil inside.
A gun to his head. So YouTube's saying, okay, even though our API machines are looking to get rid of bad things on YouTube, they delete Isaac being in a bathtub, but they keep it a video of Isaac having a gun pointed to his head. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand. I don't understand any of it. The way this works out makes no sense to me. And if anyone could explain how that makes sense, I would love to hear it. Because truthfully, I'm baffled. I don't understand. I understand nothing. I don't. And I'm not saying, Jesse's videos should be deleted, because they shouldn't be. I'm saying if they're going to get rid of the videos that tell a story, if they're going to delete part of those videos, why delete them? Why delete anything if the rest is honestly the same aspect? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
So,
There's no flagged words from specifically that community that is more likely to be demonetized.
there shouldn't be. No.
Shouldn't be.
No.
That's the number one.
Shouldn't be.
Piece of feedback that I got from creators and viewers from Twitter and stuff like
decision. And so again, I'm it always comes down to the specific video and what was in the video and what happened in the video, and I want to be sensitive to people who are saying like those were experiences that they had. But we always offer an appeal process. We always look back and understand, and we're always trying to make sure that whatever false positives we had are reviewed, right? So the more we, so basically what we do is when the more we can identify the content that is truly violative of our community guidelines and consistent with our community guidelines, and we can be really clear about that, the better and better our algorithms become and more precise they become. And we keep updating our numbers in terms of how much better we've become in this area. And again, I'm not saying that we still don't have room and ways to be better, but we do work really hard to see if our systems have made a mistake, and if they have, then we work to retrain it. And so again, I mean, anyone who's asking that, it's important that they are appealing. But we have looked into it, and there's no policy against it. In fact, we have done the opposite, which is we have explicitly created systems and people and processes to look in to make sure our systems are fair.
Perfect. Yeah, and I thought that was the case in terms of recently I had a video that got nearly demonetized, and there was 6 physical staff from YouTube reviewed it. That's what I got told. And I was like, that's awesome. YouTube should be shouting about that. There's 6 manual people reviewed the video to see whether it should get monetized or not. And it was monetized, which is good.
That's good.
But I think that's awesome that there's real humans reviewing content mechanic decisions. Yeah.
Yes, there's lots
Why
of
even have a mechanic looking at it then? Why have a mechanic system looking at it?
about 10,000 people that we're using on content decisions. So there are lots of people. To be fair, not all of them. Okay.
I thought my computer was making a noise.
Music break.
Yeah, we just had a little music come on. I think we're still a startup in many ways, right? But we're doing an interview in our space, and then there's music. Anyway, that was fun. So I was just saying
Man.
that, yeah, we have, so Google has over 10,000 people who review content. And, but yes, we I mean, basically like our process works that we have humans that identify, we make the policies, we identify content that are examples of content that meets the policies, that meet the policies, right? Then we use machines to extend that and to go on our platform and to find examples of that. And then we use humans to be able to validate those decisions. So everything is really a combination of both humans and machines to be able to operate at scale, but also to be able to get it right.
Another question was a bit of a niche one, but often I find a lot of content on YouTube in terms of like anything that involves drugs or parkour, like free running, like gymnastics on buildings, gets demonetized. However, film trailers, music videos all have that content in. So quite a few of my friends have parkour YouTube channels and things like that, that the entirety of their channel's been wiped of AdSense for encouraging dangerous behaviour. But then you watch a music video from an artist and like, that couldn't be further from what, like even more exaggerated what my friend's doing, but that is monetized. So I was just wondering what the rule is for situations like that.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, we come up with a set of policies for monetization, and those monetization policies, just to be clear, are different than what we have in terms of what's enabled on the platform. So we have community guidelines, and those community guidelines talk about like we don't enable incitement to violence or hate or adult content, right? And then we have I'll say a higher standard for monetization. And part think it's really important to remember that there's a broad range of advertisers with a broad range of desires. And so we have some advertisers who say, like, we would like to be on as many videos as possible that are appropriate. And there'll be a set of content that we all agree will not be appropriate for advertising. But for the most part, that's a small amount. We try to make it, we give advertisers who want it the broadest set of videos. And then we have some advertisers that say, I'm so particular about my brand. I'm so careful, and I only want to appear on certain types of content. And they say, I will actually go through and I will actually hand-pick the videos or hand-pick the channels that I want to show up on. And so that's the broad range that we are handling. And a lot of times when we're looking at videos and we're looking at what makes sense for monetization, a lot of times it's a reflection of what advertisers want to appear on. And we're looking at that artistic component of what makes sense. And so, if you look at a video and it's done by a top, like a music artist who has a song that's like one of the top songs, that will take into consideration from a advertiser standpoint.
Sure. Yeah.
And something that some set of advertisers will want to show up on. And so basically we look at that artistic component to try to understand what makes sense for advertisers.
Is there like a group of advertisers that you could pull together that is like, we're up for risky content, that could monetize videos with loads of swearing, that could monetize promoting dangerous activities like jumping off buildings and stuff? Do you know what I mean? There must be a group of like Red Bull or somebody that's like, we like that.
Yeah. So that's a question. I have gotten that before from advertisers saying, hey, like, we do kind of edgy content. Why can't we have more edgy advertisers?
Yeah.
Like, there must be a lot out there. And the reality is, like, it's a lot of times the users who are interested in that content are hard to reach anywhere else. Meaning that they have a lot of these contents attract very valuable audiences. And so we have been working on trying to do that matchmaking, and making sure that we can bring advertisers to the right set of content. So for example, like, I'll give a set of advertiser content that doesn't make sense always to show up on all types of content, which is a lot of times film or horror movie, right? Like a horror film advertisement, like, we also need to be careful where that shows up. Because there'd be a set of users that it could be scary for them to see, right? But whereas appearing on like a more edgy content could make more sense. So that would be an example of the kind of matchmaking that we're thinking about how to do. So I just want to let you know, I've also learned that YouTube does not enable edgy creators to be successful, and we want to enable, and like, it's hard for us to generate revenue on the platform, and why have you made those decisions, right? So we hear that, and that's why we're trying to find a set of advertisers that would be comfortable with it, and bringing them and matching them with content. And that, and I think if we can do that, that's valuable for the advertisers too, because it's content that otherwise, they could be more unique on that content.
Yeah. If your video is demonetized, does it affect your view count? Because if my video, say for example, was a parkour video and therefore it wasn't monetized, would it be pushed? There is this like sense in the community that if your video gets demonetized, YouTube don't push it as much because they're not earning from it. So would I appear on trending? Would I get in recommended? Would I be placed well in the algorithm if I'm creating those style of videos that aren't advertiser friendly, but are still good for society, because it doesn't benefit YouTube to be promoting it because you're not earning and I'm not earning?
No. The answer is no. I can tell you that definitively. And I have heard this question before. In fact, there was PewDiePie talked about it in one of his videos, and I commented.
Did you?
Yeah, on that video, because it's a really important question. I think there's a lot of confusion in the ecosystem about this. So and we actually have a creator insider video. So YouTube communicate more and try to be more transparent. We created this channel called Creator Insider, where we have people who work on YouTube and build our products talk about how our
I've seen the channel.
Yeah. So Creator Insider also has a video about this. And just to be really clear, the systems and and the people who create our monetization solutions are completely separate from the people and systems who create our recommendation systems. Like, they actually sit in different locations. They report into different people. And since the very beginning, YouTube and Google have been really clear about having separation between monetization and promotion. And always being clear about what is promoted, what's not promoted. This is an ad, or like this is sponsored.
I can't listen anymore for lies. I can't. I can't listen anymore for lies. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm going on the story fire. I already planned to do story fire, but I can't upload a video yet. I can't do that. I want to upload a video to Storyfire. I don't want to wait anymore. Just let me upload a Storyfire. Oh, I can't do that though because I don't have that permission yet. Because the application takes 6 weeks, and it's 6 weeks. When the fuck can I upload again? It doesn't even say how much longer I can wait till. Come on, I want to upload. So bad. Alright, so if you guys give me a few minutes, I'll be right back. I'm going to end the stream and restart it. I'm going to stream something else. Don't know what I'm going to stream yet. I might do... I don't know. I was going to stream GTA with Dexter, but he is not home, I don't think. Let me call him, actually. If he's home, then I will stream with him. I wanted Jesse to answer a DM because I wanted to do an interview with him about YouTube and Storyfire, but he's not answering this DM, so I don't know. Yeah, he's not even on. Okay, so we will be right back, ladies and gents. Doing something. Don't know.